I'm trying to put money in your pocket, that crypto wallet, that bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. I'm always right. I'm always right. It's been a long day, I mean a long week, maybe a long year, so let's get something clear. We're gonna stock up on some party favors later on. Tell everybody they're invited, you should come along. Best to bring your good foot, ladies gonna be dancing on the ceiling. Cocky and appealing, possibly revealing, getting sideways like a bridesmaid as she vibrate. If you a lightweight, hope you hydrate. We gon' tip the bottles back, busting out the fat sacks. People wearing costumes, chewing on a mushroom, something like a wonderland. Understand? Going down the rabbit hole with my kinfolk to another land. Damn, I said we do it like this. Magic carpet riders on some third eye shit. Mr. Pine Cones come a long, long way, so everybody get sideways. Sing it. I can't wait till Friday. Everybody's getting sideways. Pass the bottle back my way. Everybody's getting sideways.
What is going on, believers? My name is Believes. This is Bedtime with Believes. We are here tonight. We are going to talk about Bitcoin just a little bit. We're going to talk about Ethereum just a little bit. We're even going to venture into the land of Solana because I'm starting to get fascinated with Solana. Even though I'm not currently an investor, I'm just kind of looking at it, deciding whether or not it's something that I want to invest in or whether I don't want to invest in it. Still kind of unsure what to do when it comes to Solana. But you know what I am sure of? I am sure that in just a matter of days, just a matter of days, that I'm gonna be getting killed on camera. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. So if you haven't heard, I'm going to be doing a movie, just showing up in one to get killed off for Volt Inu. And this is the poster. It's been released today, so you can see it for yourself now. But this is it's interesting. It's called The Art of Killing, and I'm going to be an electrician and do my thing to get killed. So, oh, and by the way, I just fudded Pyro because I said that in 11 days it's probably going to rug. So there's going to be a lot of people coming over to say stuff about it and prove that it's not. And I would welcome it not to, because I don't want any investor to lose any money off of it. I'm not getting in it because it's already at $10. It's a waste of money to get into it. If you got into it at 12 cents, then you're feeling really good about your position right now because you're almost 100x up on your investment. But if you weren't one of those early first lucky people, then there's no reason. So unfortunately, it is not. Good morning, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and good evening. And so anyway, back to Pyro. Pyro is one of those tokens that uses true burn technology. So it burns the tokens off of the blockchain, just like we've been talking about with Burn and Shiba Doge for the last couple months. It does the same thing. So it does exactly what Luna Classic does when it removes its tokens off of the blockchain. You know, it does the same thing that a lot of other ones do. It's just a new way. It's just a new smart contract way of doing it. And if they come up with some kind of use case that actually turns it into functional, useful sort of something or other, then it'll be kind of cool. So we'll see whether or not there's an actual use case for it or not. Sean, what's going on? So anyway, yeah, that's oh, and by the way, that's me in the bottom left-hand corner. So I'll be getting mauled for this movie. But anyway, so let's go over here and let's talk about Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, unlike Pyro, moves the needle. Maybe Pyro's day is coming one day, just not today. So Bitcoin is trading at 22,845. What we're seeing right now is kind of a breakdown of levels. You see that we've gone from this 23.6 level down to this level to 23,280, and now we're punching around 22.8. It looks like we're bouncing our way back up, and that we're going to fall back into this line and turn that into our support line, which we bounce off of. The problem being, it's going to take a little bit of time, and I think there's a little bit of nervous sentiment. You can see over here that the Korean index is down 15 points right now, 16 points. So the Korean index started off with a big downside, and we're going to get the CPI tomorrow. And when we get the CPI, we'll at least have a clear understanding of where we are. You know what? I say clear understanding. We probably won't. We're probably still going to be just figuring things out as we go. But we'll have at least kind of an idea of where we'll have an idea of where it's going tomorrow, maybe afternoon. Really, the report comes out at 7:30 Central Standard Time. So at 7:30 Central Standard Time, we're going to have a clear understanding about where we are in this market. But after this dip, you can see here, if we break it down to the 5-minute chart, after that initial sell-off and that initial early, and it started at 7:30, by the way, in the China market. So you saw this big sell-off, and now you're seeing the buyback happening. So it's basically standard for China at this point. They don't seem to be doing a lot of pumping anymore. Yeah, guys, the Pyro is Pyro's up about 10x right now. Let's see if it does another 10x from that dollar point, and not the 12 cents that it started. That's probably unrealistic, but take it to $20, and then you've probably got something great that you're going to be working on. But I mean, I guess what you really got to do, and if I got to break it down, I got to break it down. But Pyro is a token with 800 holders and a market cap of 6 million, because its supply is only 697,000 remaining. So if you were early and you didn't sell and you had yourself a nice bag, then you're feeling pretty good. But as this thing dwindles, and it's rapidly dwindling, by the way, as this thing dwindles, this dies down as a sensation, because there's a lot of tokens that do exactly what this does. And just because this is happening doesn't make it special in the marketplace. It does mean that if you got in early, then you got an opportunity to make profit. But remember, we've done this 100 times. We're not the new people in this, right? What happens when you see a chart like this that's moving up and you only see less than 1,000 holders, and you don't see actual parabolic sort of growth, but you see a parabolic growth on the dollar value? Somebody's going to start selling at some point really soon. And when that happens, it comes all the way back down, and a whole bunch of people lose a whole bunch of money because they get wrecked. Now, this is what's going to end up happening. And you guys can come back here as many times as you want, by the way. And you can come back here in a week to point out that I was wrong. And Legend, listen, Legend, we know it's no fake burn. We understand it's no fake burn. We've been doing this for months with Burn, which was doing this a couple months ago for Shiba Doge. We understand how the burn process works. We understand that Luna Classic also does the same type of burn. We understand all of these. Right, I'm going to be crazy wrong. Universal will be back here in a week. You guys heard it first. Universal 6. Remember him? He'll be back in a week to show me how wrong I was. So let's remember that. But let's move on for right now. We've got the start of a rally happening in the Chinese market. The Ethereum market Same thing. We had a nice dip down here to about 1656 as a low, and then we shot right back up to 1684. We did not reach the bottom, by the way. We did not reach the bottom. I don't know that we have a local bottom over here other than this line right here at 1670 maybe as a test area, but we did dip a little bit below that before bouncing back up. And then we hit the support line that we've been using for a long time. If you see it over here, you can see that we hit it a couple of times. We were using 1680 as a support line. Now, lucky us, we're using it as a line of resistance. So hopefully we can easily pop back over that and get back in here. And then maybe in in an hour or two, maybe even a couple minutes, who knows, we'll make it back up here to around 1700 and we can start moving back to the upside. But we still got to deal with the Korean index. The Koreans are still down on the day, and we are over here on the Chinese, and I don't have a pre-market on the Chinese. Normally it pops in. Maybe it's going to pop in the next 20 minutes or so. But when we see that, then we'll have a better idea of which way their market is going to go for the evening. So also, by the way, for those of you that are paying attention, I have added the stocks 600 that we are now tracking over here. And that is the European stock market. So now we're going to get at least a better idea of what's going on in the European market. And based on the sentiment that we've got right here, based on the fact that it's rounding back around, and based on the fact that it dumped last night, thinking about what could happen in the American market, then it is entirely possible that we get a pump or at least some sideways action where they kind of hold the fort until we get the number that we were looking for at the CPI. Now, I'm predicting that we're going to get an 8.6. There's been a lot going on in the last couple of days, but you guys have to remember, and you have to go back and look to what was it called? The last CPI number, which I think was July 10. On July 10, it was 9.1. Now, since then, and by the way, at that point, the reason that we got a 9.1 and still continued to pump was because people saw the prices at the pump and they knew that the worst was already over and that we were in a better place. So that being said, I don't think that that's not going to be the same, by the way, this time. I think the quote unquote, the fix is in. So the best I can say at this point is we're going to get hopefully a lower number because we did see the gas prices go way down. We have seen fuel delivery costs start to go down. We're not seeing a huge drop, by the way, but we're seeing a significant drop. It's been doing it in line with expectation, I should say. And if that's the case, then we should be seeing some positive momentum starting to hit. And from there, hopefully we'll get a nice little lift off of it. And we'll start to see this thing pumping, and that'll be kind of cool. So at least that's what I think is going to happen. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of days. And at least when it happens, we'll be informed. And now we're starting to see a little bit of movement. It looks like the Chinese market is done with the sell-off, and they are all about pumping. So, it's possible. I don't think that we're going to get much more than a 1720 or anything at night. And I don't think that over here on Bitcoin, we're going to get anything more than maybe 23.2 or 23.3, because it's going to take a long time, by the way, because you have to break through resistance. You have to break through resistance. Then you have to break through resistance in order to start getting up into this number here, and then up over 23.9 in order to get into this golden pocket. I don't think that's possible, not with just the Chinese market. It's not going to be one of those possible plays. That's just one of those pie in the sky sort of wishes that we would love to see. You also have to take into consideration that if we do see a nice little pump start to happen, then I don't think that we have to worry about any shorts and longs being liquidated in this region right now. I don't think that we're going to see any of that. So I don't think that we're going to see any kind of massive, quick or rapid sort of move. I hope that makes sense. So that is going to be who is this fucking dude? Pull up the chart. Okay. Show me a project that burns off the max supply. Okay. If I do that, then you got to leave. How about that? Here is burn. This is where the copy was. This is where the copy of the contract was taken. This was burn, and it now has 999 million billion, whatever gigantic number it has. It's burned off 9 billion of its supply using a real burn. There is no burn wallet, and it continues to diminish every single day. And if you need to read the details, you can go to burn.realshibadoge.com. So if you have any more questions, you can take it up with them. If you have any more questions, you can take it up with them. Yeah, dude, we're not worried about it. Listen, it's been nice having you here. It's been awesome. I appreciate it, but he's going away. Chads. Gotta love them. All right, so now we can move on from the pyromaniacs. You know, why is it that it's always cultists and pyromaniacs and people like that? Why can it never just be, hey, this is Brooklyn from the Spot of Tea Club. He wants to talk to you about, he doesn't like the way that you talked about Saitama or something like that. Why is it always maxis that just lose their mind? But that's okay. There is a young gentleman over here. His name was U something or other. It ended in 6, Universal 6. I think we're going to see him in 1 week. So he'll be over here in a week, and that's going to be cool. That's going to be kind of cool. Like, it's going to be really interesting to see him come back over here and like I'm hoping, by the way, I'm hoping that he proves me wrong. I hope that these guys prove me wrong, because what I want is for everybody to be successful. But if you're asking me my opinion, I don't think so. So Volta Change is the only thing in the space that is helping projects burn their supply. Some people just have to Chad GGG. That's what, there's always going to be some, and it's burning its own. And it did say that it could help to burn other tokens. So it is entirely possible that one of the use cases, which by the way, it has no use case at this point, that use case is to be announced later. So maybe we'll see. I mean, these guys could be sitting on the greatest token ever made, for all I know. It doesn't look like it, but you know what? Volt proved me wrong. I mean, and by a long shot. So you never know what's going to happen. Why can't people just like the project and let you have your own opinion? Because my opinion matters. Because my opinion does matter to other people who might become investors, and that's why. Because even we'll have a couple hundred people that'll watch the live streams. Then we could have up to 1,000 or 2,000 people that'll watch videos overnight, stuff like that. So because I say something, they may not like it, and because it's not supportive of what they believe. And some people just don't like that, and they want you to believe what they want you to believe. And sometimes, listen, I've got one of my buddies, off topic here, but still on topic, sort of. I have one of my buddies is just a maniac. I mean, absolutely just maniac. And if you're on here, Matt, you're a maniac. And Matt is total maniac. He has in his mind that the election was completely stolen. and that there's this mass conspiracy with millions of people involved, that the election was quote unquote stolen, and that Donald Trump won by like 10 or 20 or 30 million votes. Like it's just an insane conspiracy. And like, you know, there's some validity to a lot of the complaints in that, you know, mail-in ballots, you know, you can make an argument one way or another for mail-in ballots. You can make an argument for, well, I guess that's it. You can make an argument for mail-in ballots. If you don't want people voting, then you argue about mail-in ballots. If you just want people who can take days off work voting and not everyone voting, you know, I mean, there is an argument that you can make. But to just say that it was just stolen and that there's these gigantic, vast conspiracies that nobody can find, but that they exist, but nobody can find them, but they exist like in spooky ooky land, where they track the GPS and they don't show you repeated videos, but you know what I mean? Like, he is just absolutely convinced that this is real. So you can convince a lot of people. There you go. Jay gets it. It doesn't really matter whether it's a red person or a blue person that wins. They're on the same team. And really, to be fair, the only person not on that team was Donald Trump. So you can take that for what you will, but he was not on their team. And but there's no conspiracy. There's just, well, let me rephrase that. Maybe there's a conspiracy. There's a whole bunch of people who went to liberal arts college who are trying to tell you liberal stuff to make you think a liberal way, because that's kind of what you learn. You kind of learn that in college. When you get older and you become an adult and you have to start paying taxes and stuff like that, you're like, man, I don't want to pay for this person's extra healthcare, or I don't want to pay for this person's whatever, or I don't want to pay for this whatever, or this person's whatever. Like, you know, when you become older and you start to accumulate, then you don't want to pay as much for other people. Liberalism is something for children. That's for when you're young. When you get older, you become more conservative. That's just basically the way that it is. And that is also part of the reason why your elders are the elders of the village, because they're more conservative, they're less radical, they're not as ideological, and they keep the boat moving forward steadily instead of rocking the boat and creating massive amounts of change. That is how countries fall. So there's a lot to be said about some of this stuff. However, the one part that doesn't matter is nothing was stolen. Duh. So, but I mean, there are people that believe it. So, you know, anybody can believe like Pyro is going to be the greatest token in the history. What is up, Kings? What's going on, my man? There's all of this crazy stuff that could be happening. There's all these different tokens. And every one of them, look, every token wants me to say they're the most awesome thing ever. Every token, everybody in Cult wants me to say, hey, Cult is the most incredible thing that's ever existed. I can't even believe it. Like, it's one of the greatest DAOs ever. It's just not. It's just not. Doesn't mean that it can't be. It just means that right now it's not. And, you know, forward, Pyro might have a better burn function than even Burn token has, or any other token. But until it has a function and a use case, and by the way, the only function of Burn token is to burn Shiba Doge. So I'm not saying that Burn is better by proxy of having for any reason. I'm not saying that it's better at all. I'm saying that it was around first because they said that they're the only one doing it, and they're not. There are other tokens that do burn off chain. So, you know, but a week from now, I should have told him 11 days though, because that's what I said, 11 days. But in a week, Universal 6 is going to come back over here. Maybe Pyro is going to be at $20, and we'll be like, oh man, he got me. I was wrong. No, I'm not going to be wrong though, right? Y'all know that. You know what we're going to do? We're going to come over here and everything is in red right now, by the way. Everything is just in red. So we're going to drop one. I'll know if GOAT does something because it'll be in my wallet. And we'll go over here to Pyromatic. We're going to cover this. We're going to look this up on, we're going to know exactly how this thing is going every day. It's up 4.5% on the day. It's up 189% on the week. So every day we're going to know exactly how it's doing. So there we got it. Now we got it covered. And, while we're doing this, by the way, Bitcoin is continuing to pump. So it looks like the Chinese market is starting to have a little bit of push in the positive direction. So that's a pretty good sign early in the evening. I don't know if it maintains overnight. I think, one of the things that you start to see is, the one thing that I'm not accounting for, by the way, is the India market, because the India market is a tough read. I guess I don't want to get the indices over here, because if I start to, then pretty soon all I'm doing is just looking at those, and then I'm not, as a matter of fact, I probably should, because I don't really care what happens to BNB, Link, Luna Classic, and all that at the same time. So, maybe we'll look at it at some point, but God damn it, I can't believe I just talked myself into it. But we don't have the early number here, so we're still just waiting for that pre-market number, and I usually get the pre. Yeah, I do have the pre. Okay, so the pre-market now says that the Chinese market is going to start off down 1.3 points. So we did get a start number. The pre-market is showing it's basically dead even with yesterday. So when this candle pops, we'll probably see like a little mini red candle, and it'll start growing from there. So I guess that and Pyro's down more. Ooh, another big sell. Now, why would there be big sells happening? Huh? I mean, it can't be if it's going way up, right? Man, these guys are going to hate me in a couple days. They're going to blame me. Yeah, they're going to blame me for it, right? In just a couple days, just a couple of days. I swear to you, in a couple of days, they're going to be back over here saying that it's my fault, that everybody sold because of me or something like that. Yeah, I think I'm walking, and that seems to be helping. So he's getting in better shape. Chinese missed you the last few days. I'm sure they did, man. I'm sure that they did. Those poor little things. And I was talking about the Chinese, not the dogs, by the way. Those poor little things. Yeah, what's going on, Striker? So anyway, matter of fact, by the way, if you guys have not seen this yet, this is kind of crazy. Shiba Bone, by the way, has reached $1. But boom, 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 boom. Now everybody is trying to figure out the collapse of Celsius. That's ridiculous. All right, here we go. Altcoin season index peaks. Ethereum, Cardano, XP to rally. XRP. The crypto market has been in its recovery mode for the last few days. Yesterday, however, a couple of new records were created. Exactly after a month, Ethereum managed to surpass the 1.8K mark. Cardano, on the other hand, reclaimed the 7th spot, flipping Binance's native stablecoin. So as we come down here, over the past week, institutions have been diverting funds toward Ethereum and other alts, and perhaps the same has contributed to alts being able to pull off a sustainable recovery of late. Per data from CoinShares, Ethereum's weekly flow summed up to 16.3 million. Solana, Cardano, and XRP also noted minor flows that range from 0.2 to 0.6 million. Outlining the reason for Ethereum's surge, the report noted Ethereum saw inflows totaling 16 million and is enjoying a near 7 consecutive week run of inflows totaling 159 million. We believe this turnaround in investor sentiment is due to greater clarity in the timing of the merge. So this right here is, per the rule of thumb, if 75% of the top 50 coins outperform Bitcoin in a period of 90 days, it's considered to be an altcoin season. Blockchain Center's altcoin season index has peaked and is currently at 94, the highest so far in 2022. In fact, as illustrated below, Such levels were last seen during 2021's April-May rally, where Ethereum and other top alts went on to create new highs on almost a daily basis. While the current reading clearly means it's pointing to the fact that the alts have been faring better, so does this give them an extra edge over Bitcoin? No, it does not, by the way. But a quick look into the correlation matrix would give us an idea about which token has an extra edge relative to others. Now, as observed, the correlation that Cardano, Solana, and XRP share with both Ethereum and Bitcoin are above 0.7, indicating that the whole landscape is closely knit at the moment. However, on closer inspection, it can be noted that Cardano and XRP have a higher correlation with Bitcoin than the alt leader. On the contrary, Solana shares a better bond with Ethereum than the king of coin. So if the Ethereum merge hype pump continues, Solana is likely to be the one to benefit the most when compared to Cardano or XRP. Having said that, it also means that Solana is at an equal risk of shedding more value relatively if Ethereum briefly pulls back over the short term. So now the question is, will Ethereum pull back over the short term? And you know, like, it's hard to when you're looking at these charts. And guys, this is tough sometimes. You see what you see, and you can start to kind of get ideas of like where you're going, et cetera, et cetera. But listen, we've broken out of the bottom of this trend line, which means that we're no longer in the same pattern. Now we have to figure out, like, what is our pattern? What are we doing? How are we moving at this point? So now you got to kind of, just kind of take these things apart, and let's get rid of this. And let's look at the chart. And now we got to figure out, like, where are we and what is going on with, and let's move that way down here. But where are we now with what's going on? So we could take this right here and probably kind of peg a few hits and say that this is probably a real bounce line, maybe. And if you do that, then you can also make a case that we are forming another wedge. And if we're merging, if we're forming another wedge, remember we had actually had we'd actually had a wedge that was forming over here. And remember, we had this top going across. We had the wedge, right? And then we had the wedge down here. And what ended up happening, it ended up breaking to the upside. So, and just trust me on this, when I start to mess around with it and zoom it around, we had this going, and then what happened? We went up. So what's happening now is we're getting towards the end of this. So it should, by all rights, start to move upwards from there, if we're predicting this right and if we're looking at it right. So it depends on how many times we're going to test it. The best thing that I can say is that we for sure are moving along this kind of pattern line right here and missing a few of the, and there you go. Like, I mean, it's pretty specific. Other than this little dodge right here, we're banging right here on this line for the most part. And then straight across this top is where that line is forming otherwise. So we do have a bullish triangle pattern that's formed. So let's go look at day chart and see what we see on the day chart, because that's probably more pressing right now. And we're going to have to get in a little bit closer here. And we see, of course, we're seeing the same thing. We're seeing that this is on a big upward pattern here, but we don't have anything like, I mean, really, there's nothing here that says, other than, maybe we're looking at, again, these tops right here. Well, my son is having a great time today. Last day before school too, by the way. Anyway, so we're still upwards, but we're not as upwards as we were. It looks like we're trying to get back. I mean, really, it looks like we're trying to get back into this 2000 range. When you pull it out and you kind of look at it this way, then it looks like we're starting to get back up into this region here, and that we just need a little impetus from and a little help over here, and the next thing you know, we're going to be sitting up here with Ethereum in the 2000 range, maybe even that 2500 range right in here. So we're not that far away. It's just a matter of, I've not unstaked my Phantom yet. Haven't done anything with it. What's going on, Uproar? What's going on, McGuire? Yeah, CPI tomorrow. I'm still saying 8.6. Most are saying 8.7. And for the last couple of updates, those updates have been quite a bit elevated beyond what people expected. So when people were saying it was going to be like 8.6 last month, it ended up being 9.1, et cetera. It's been so far over for so long. And then the number from last month was 4.6 that rolled off, and 5.1 is the number that rolls off this month. So it's allowing another half point so far for the rolling process. And I think that that's probably going to be enough, along with oil prices and gas prices coming down pretty good, to change that number from 9.1 down to an 8.6. And if that happens, then people are going to start looking at it. And that, by the way, that would be probably the best thing that could possibly happen, because it would still mean that we need to do 75 basis points on the next hike. And there won't be an emergency meeting of the Fed. There won't be anything crazy. And we'll probably get what it is that we need in order to drive this market up to a new level. And maybe catch, I mean, really, here's the thing. If it all goes good tomorrow, then we're going to be at 2,000, the end. If all goes good right here, then we're going to be at 28,000 on Bitcoin. The market is waiting for clarity. And the market is going to get clarity, and it's going to have 6 weeks, 6 weeks. It'll have 6 weeks after that in order to just start to run. Jobs report looked fantastic. We'll have 4 weeks until the job report, but we'll have 4 weeks of solid running with no real kind of crazy thing. The only thing crazy that could come out would be if Putin or Xi Jinping or Winnie the Pooh or whoever's in charge of China, if they dropped a bomb somewhere. Other than that, I did not unstake yet. I saw a message that said don't unstake yet, so I did not. Yeah. That's what I'm feeling like. And a matter of fact, I keep wanting to think like there has to be like a CPI leak. All right, Fed's Bowman says, I find few, if any, signs that inflation has peaked. So that's probably a very bad sign. Angie, no White House leak on CPI yet. Maybe it won't look so bad on paper. So just weird, no CPI leak or leaks. I guess we might finally see it ticking down. Yay. Maybe they're surprising us with a holy shit, look at this number. CPI isn't what they've been expecting. Since there's no regulation whatsoever, insiders take position the moment they leak the information. Someone leaked CPI, or you just max bidding because leak fake CPI at 10.2. So a real 9.5 doesn't sound so shocking. Yeah, none of that was. So we're not getting a solid or stable CPI leak. Let's just go look at the general markets and see if there's yeah. So I don't see anything. I don't see anything. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see 50 basis points. It's going to be too early for that. If we see that, then we're probably going to see that's going to lead to. Okay, so Ellis, here's the bad part about crypto. The good part about it is we're in early, and it's a speculative asset. And if it moons, then we're going to make out. But for the good of most countries right now, doing a 50 basis point is probably one of the worst things that can happen, because if that happens, then that would mean that we feel like everything is stable, and it's plainly evident that it's not. So that would just be one of those false flags, and we fell for it, and we would be in for I just think we've been in for a disaster if that happened. That we would end up paying for that one so far down the road in the long run that it would just be, just almost insurmountable. Just almost insurmountable. Hey, what's going on, Pocahontas? We'd rather have a reset and after a crypto boom than these regular BPS. It's tough. It's really tough to say, what is the best thing that you're looking for when you're looking for this? I don't think that they're going to do that. There's no way that they're not going to they're going to make people calculate your interest rate at 4.10%. They're going to continue to build at a specific number. I think the next one, doing 75 basis points, gives them an opportunity to close it out later on. This would be the fourth one. That would make it 3%. Then the next time be 3.5. The next will be 4. You know what I mean? I think that's how they're going to play it out to begin with. And then we'll start to draw down October. Remember, we do have an election coming up. So that is the time when we should see crypto start to make one of those moves. And if we see that, if that plays out the right way, then that would be great. But anyway, I'm going to go walk my dog now. He's staring at me and he's not coughing right now. So that should be good enough for right now. Oh, by the way, I'm burnt. A couple days from now, it should turn into a tan, at least. It's always a good time to buy Volt. Matter of fact, I think it's 71. Let's go look at that real quick. Look, most of the time, Volt is trading around 9 in this market. So trading at 71.82 right now means that you could literally pick up about a 15-20% increase in just short order with one of those. Just a nice little good run. But remember here's the problem. You notice, by the way, this is all coming down. It's all coming down because money is coming into alts. And if we're going into alt season, you can see the market's probably down just a little bit on the day, 3.8%. So it's down on the day, 4.9% of the 24, 4.1. So the money's coming out of the market. And if it's coming out of our meme tokens and Uniswap, if it's coming out of Uniswap, then that means that it's about to go into this, because this is altcoin season. If we're going to have an altcoin season, then that's what you're going to see happen. So you're going to see a lot of money come out. Then you're going to see it start to cascade over to memes. You're going to see it start to cascade over to metaverse. It's all coming. It's just a matter of tomorrow when we see the number. If the number looks awesome, then we're getting sent. If it doesn't look awesome, then we'll be waiting a little bit longer. So, and it looks like the Chinese market is down 8 points so far. Now it's down 9. So it starts off on a red candle, just like we said would happen. And it's a big red candle now. So they're heading down for a little bit. We'll see how it plays overnight. But anyway, this is not financial advice. My name is Believes. And we'll see you guys for breakfast in the morning. Have a good night, guys.